Antonio, Texas is basically every family's dream town. The real estate options are still affordable. The cost of living is lower than the national average. There's low taxes. And best of all, the economy is booming right here in the city of San Antonio as well. However, as we already know, no city's perfect, and neither is San Antonio, Texas. So in this video, we're going to discuss the pros and cons of living right here in San Antonio. And there's definitely going to be some major cons that we're going to cover, so stay tuned. My name is Richard Soto, a local real estate broker right here in San Antonio with offices throughout the state of Texas. If you're new to the channel, please make sure you hit that subscribe button as we do weekly videos talking all about living, working, and playing right here in the great state of Texas. Today, we're going to discuss the pros and cons of living in the great city of San Antonio, which has about 1.5 million residents and is the second largest city in the great state of Texas. So you're definitely going to be in good company if you decide to relocate to San Antonio. There are a lot of great things about living in this great city. However, there's definitely going to be some cons. And if you watched any of my previous videos, you know I'm all about eating my dessert first. So let's go ahead and start with the pros of living in San Antonio. Then we'll jump into the cons, starting with the first pro of living in San Antonio, and that's going to be the cost of living, which is going to be significantly lower than other cities throughout the country. When clients call our office and they're relocating from California, from New York, and around the world, one of the biggest things that they focus on, besides safety, good schools, is going to be the cost of living. Everyone in the world wants to get the most bang for their buck and save as much money as possible, and you will be able to do that right here in San Antonio, Texas. Rent costs, prices of real estate properties, utilities, transportation, and basic goods and services all have a lower cost in San Antonio, Texas. This is especially true when compared to similar sized cities such as Houston, Philadelphia, and San Diego. In fact, according to Area Vibes, the cost of living in San Antonio is about 12% lower than the national average and a whopping 78.5% cheaper than living in San Diego. Guys, let me tell you, the cost of living in San Antonio is absolutely great, especially when you compare it to a city like San Diego. We've been blessed to open up our office in San Diego a couple of months ago. So I've been traveling back and forth to San Diego, and let me tell you, gosh, every time I have breakfast, never mind lunch or dinner, it's going to be a minimum of $50+ each and every time. It is extremely expensive in the city of San Diego. I don't know how people do it. So while we're definitely growing our office in San Diego and throughout the state of California, every time I come back to Texas, let me tell you, I'm just, so glad that the cost of living in the great state of Texas, especially in San Antonio, is so much less. So we are very blessed and fortunate to live in the great state of Texas. So if you're trying to save money, if you want to be frugal, if you actually want to have some retirement funds put away, San Antonio is going to be a great choice for you and your family. Of all the pros and cons of living right here in San Antonio, this is probably the one that is the reason behind its strong growth. The low cost of living in San Antonio is a big reason why the city appeals to young families and retirees. Your dollar goes a lot further after moving to San Antonio. Plus, the affordable housing market doesn't hurt either, which is going to bring us to our next pro, and that is going to be affordable housing. You can still get a bang for your buck in the real estate market in San Antonio, Texas. Again, especially when you compare it to other cities such as San Diego, and I assure you, there is absolutely no comparison. The current housing prices in San Antonio are much lower than the national average, but don't just take my word for it. I have statistics to back this up. The median price of a home in San Antonio is around $300,000, a spike of nearly 25% from the previous year, but still way below the national average of around $440,000. To that end, if you plan on moving to San Antonio, there's no time like the present because home prices are on the rise and moving fast. San Antonio is no different than the other states. Prices are still affordable. However, the last 3 years, they have significantly been going up and up and up. However, I know it's 2023. The prices are starting to stabilize. So I can't predict the future. However, I know this, whether it's 6 months, 8 months, or maybe a year, prices will most likely, as they have for the existence of time, the home prices will continue to go up. So if you're trying to save some money and you want to have more room to negotiate, now might be a great time to purchase your next home, not only in San Antonio, but Dallas, Austin, San Antonio, Houston, Midland, throughout the state of Texas, mainly because the last several years, every time we submitted an offer on a home, there was literally 10, 30, 40 bidders on the same house. I know several of our VIP Realty clients got very frustrated with my team because they couldn't understand when they were buying when they were submitting an offer on a $500,000 home and we bid $600,000, you would assume you were going to win the bid, yet we lost many bids time after time because it was so competitive. So many people were vying for the same homes. So again, now might be a great time to purchase your next home, depending on your situation. Maybe you want to lease if you're just relocating, so you're able to know what areas of San Antonio you prefer. So leasing might be a great option as well. I would do a short-term lease, maybe 6 months if you can find it, but something to consider about. So far the pros are going to be the low cost of living and affordable real estate options. Now let's move on to the third pro of living in San Antonio, Texas. And the third pro is going to be a stable job market. Wherever you live, the bills are still due on the first, and you're going to need employment. So whatever field you're in, whether it's the military, tourism, hospitality, marketing, whatever it is that you're looking for, you can definitely find it in a major city like San Antonio. So if you're looking to scale your business, if you're looking to take your corporate career to a higher level, San Antonio is going to be a great city for you to reside in. One of the biggest draws for folks moving to San Antonio is the healthy job market that doesn't show signs of slowing anytime soon. Employing more than 80,000, Joint-based San Antonio is the largest employer in the city. If you're not moving to San Antonio for the military sector, you'll find jobs in a wide range of industries from healthcare, aerospace, bioscience, renewable energy, technology, and IT. What's more, San Antonio receives an average of 34 million visitors per year. The tourism and hospitality industry is thriving, which in turn creates more jobs at restaurants, hotels, and local shops. San Antonio is very well known for the military and to the tourism, which people from all over the world come and check out San Antonio. Whether they're looking at the Alamo, they hang out at the Riverwalk, which is one of my favorite places in the city. Not to talk bad about San Antonio, but it is some dirty water that we have going around downtown. However, somehow it's beautiful. I don't know how that is the case, but it is. It's gorgeous. I love all the restaurants. So if you're coming to visit or you're thinking about relocating and you're checking out the city of San Antonio, definitely head to the Riverwalk, one of the most popular areas of San Antonio. Grab yourself some of the best Tex-Mex in the world, wash it down with a margarita, and you'll have a dang good time while you figure out what area of San Antonio suits you best. Okay, moving on to the next pro, which is going to be that the city is one of the fastest growing cities in the country. However, some of the residents in San Antonio might see it as a con. I personally see it as a pro. As the city grows, more jobs come into the city, better amenities and things to do also come into the city. So I definitely see it as a pro, and San Antonio is growing and growing rapidly because the secret is out. San Antonio gives you great cost of living. You have great real estate options. Some of the friendliest people in the world reside in San Antonio. There is a lot to like in regards to living in San Antonio, and people are flocking in droves to this great city. According to the U.S. Census Bureau, with 13,626 newcomers, San Antonio saw the greatest gain in new residents between 2020 and 2021. Chalk it up to the housing market, affordable cost of living in San Antonio, or whatever you'd like. But the fact remains, San Antonio is attracting people from all over the country. Okay, moving on to the fifth pro, and one of my favorites, and that is that there is no state income tax in San Antonio or the state of Texas, which is going to enable you to keep more of that hard-earned money that you worked so hard for. There's a handful of American states where state income tax is not a thing, and luckily, Texas is one of them. Those living in San Antonio are expected to pay their fair share of federal income tax, property taxes, and sales tax, but the state income tax is off the table, thank God. Okay, let's move on to the next pro. Sometimes it's a con, I must say. However, you're moving to a city that has sunshine pretty much year-round. So if you enjoy the outdoors and you like to go for hikes, maybe go to a lake, get some exercise out at the park. The sun is basically going to be out pretty much 365 days a year. We do have mild winters in San Antonio on a rare occasion. I must say, the last several years, the winters have been very odd. It has iced, it has snowed, it's gotten a little bit colder. I've lived in Texas. I was born and raised in the greatest state in the country, and I don't recall the winters ever being this sporadic and odd. So maybe it's not going to be sunny 365 days a year, maybe only 350 days out of the year. However, if you enjoy the sun and you're relocating from a cold climate, you'll definitely enjoy living in San Antonio. The negative is that it also gets very, very hot and humid during the summer. So if you're hot-natured like myself, July and August could be a problem staying and being in the city of San Antonio. If living in a sunny place is a non-negotiable for you, then moving to San Antonio is the right call. The city averages, I was wrong, 220 days of sunshine per year. In terms of temperatures, you'll see some fluctuation while living in San Antonio. Winters are cool, averaging highs of 64 Fahrenheit, while summers are very hot. Average highs clock in at around 98 Fahrenheit. So as you can see, the winters are very mild. However, the summers can definitely get hot, something to consider if you're relocating to the city of San Antonio. Okay, moving on to the next pro, and it's probably definitely one of my favorite reasons that we reside in the state of Texas, and that is going to be Southern hospitality. People in the great state of Texas, not only San Antonio, the overwhelming are going to be kind, gentle, friendly people where you can just go to the gym, maybe you're at the school play, maybe you're just out for a margarita sitting on a patio, and you can definitely join in on a conversation to your left or to your right. People in Texas are very, very friendly, especially when you compare it to other cities across the country. I know New York gets a bad rep, which I've gone and visited many, many times. My family and I travel a lot. Whether it's California, Florida, Chicago, it doesn't matter. There is a significant difference between Texas people and people from other parts of the country. I know there's great people all over the world. But as a whole, people here in Texas are extremely friendly. They're extremely kind. They like to assist and give a helping hand. That is something that is sorely lacking in today's world, and I love that about the great state of Texas, especially San Antonio, which is a large city, one of the largest cities in the country. However, you still have that small town vibe, that small town feeling with people are nice and they're just good old folks, as we say here in Texas. They're good people. They're good folks that you can depend on, that you can have a laugh with, that if something happens, your car breaks down, even though you might not know your neighbor very well, they'll come and assist you just out of their kindness of their heart without expecting anything. And I love, 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 love that about the great state of Texas, and that it's the people that live in Texas have old school morals, old school beliefs that I will beat into my kids if I have to. I disagree with a lot of the things that they're being taught, and I'm not going to get off track. Point being is, in San Antonio and throughout the state of Texas, people are still nice and kind. They shake your hand with a firm grip, look you in the eye, and tell you the truth. Oh, there are some jerks in San Antonio, absolutely. There's people driving crazy, texting and driving all over the highway, and that's okay. However, the majority of the people, if you want to be around friendly people that are honest, good folks, where your friends are going to be around good kids that have been raised right, who will get their butt whipped if they talk back, make bad grades, or bad decisions, you'll love living in San Antonio, Texas. Okay, so we cover the pros. We think San Antonio is a great place to call home, but not so fast, because you know I keep it 100 with our subscribers and our clients. So there's definitely some negatives about living in San Antonio, and there's going to be a few, and let's get right into it with the crime. San Antonio is not one of the safest cities in the country, nor the state of Texas. So crime is definitely an issue, and particularly if you go into the wrong areas of town, you need to make sure you secure your belongings, lock your door, hit the car alarm before you go into that convenience store. I hate to say it, but we're gonna keep it 100 right here on this channel. San Antonio is only safer than about 4% of all other American cities, and is one of the worst places to live in Texas from this point of view. Therefore, we recommend caution when moving to San Antonio and when choosing your new neighborhood. This is definitely one of the downsides when considering all the pros and cons of living in San Antonio. So there are many free websites and tools where you can get online. As a real estate agent, we definitely can't choose where you should live or you should not live. It's called redlining, and we would never do anything unethical. However, as an independent researcher, you can definitely get on numerous websites, check out different crime trends, school statistics, and if you're a VIP Realty client, we can definitely email you some different resources that you can take advantage of. Now, let's move on to the second con, and that is going to be major allergy season, guys, which I deal with at least 2 times a year. I don't know what's going on. Maybe one of our subscribers can give me some recommendations. Probably about a month ago, it never fails, and I don't want to speak this into existence, but typically at least once a year, I get allergies so bad that it turns into a sinus infection. And when I tell you I'm a big baby, I lay on my couch and it doesn't go away in 2 or 3 days. This nonsense lasts for about 7 to 8, 9 days where I have a fever, I can't breathe, I'm breathing. It's a horrible feeling. It's worse than the flu. And when it knocks me down, I mean, I am out for a significant amount of time. So if you suffer from allergies, like me, something you might want to consider if you're thinking about moving to San Antonio, Texas. Some people don't realize that San Antonio is one of the 10 worst cities in America for those suffering from allergies. The biggest culprit is going to be mountain cedars. These trees are extremely common in San Antonio, which is unfortunate because they disperse unholy amounts of pollen during the cedar fever season. The season runs from November through March, with the worst months being January and February. So if you're one of the 67 million Americans that suffer from pollen allergies, like myself, you might want to reconsider moving to San Antonio. Or maybe we can figure out a solution. I don't know if there's a shot that people like me can take, or maybe I need to stock up on, what is that called? Claritin, whatever allergy pill there is. If you know an extra strong one, please leave it in the comments because I will definitely be taking it. Now, crime, allergies. Let's move on to the next con of living in San Antonio. And this con is the reason that we opened up an office in California. During the summer, especially July and August, the heat, the summer humidity in San Antonio and the majority of Texas is almost unbearable. Guys, it gets so freaking hot. I don't care that the thermometer says 98 degrees. I assure you, when you walk outside, it feels like it's 120 degrees. And God forbid that you live in an apartment or you're not able to utilize your garage and you leave your car outside half the day and you have to go get in it to go to the store. I am telling you, it is going to feel like a sauna. When you grab the steering wheel, you might hurt your hands and burn them because it is going to be extremely hot. I've literally seen dozens and dozens of eggs throughout my life fried on the sidewalk. That's how hot it gets in Texas. So if you are hot-natured like myself and you just cannot bear the heat, you might want to consider moving to somewhere else like sunny San Diego, and VIP Realty can assist you. But guys, you can't compare it. The reason we live in Texas and I didn't move to San Diego is because the cost of living in San Antonio and throughout the state of Texas is extremely lower. Never mind, it's much friendlier people here in Texas. We can always take a short flight from San Antonio to San Diego, be there in 3 hours or less, and still reside in the best state in the country. So if you can't bear the heat, you can always take a very short flight to other parts of the country. Saying that, it does get extremely hot. And if I had to choose one of the biggest cons of not only San Antonio, but living in Texas, it is definitely the summer heat and the humidity. Okay, let's move on to the fourth con. Or maybe it's the fifth, I've lost track, but we're knocking them out quickly, guys. And the next con, I think it's 4, is going to be construction. As we stated earlier, San Antonio is one of the fastest growing cities in the nation. So that means there's definitely going to be construction going on everywhere throughout the city, whether we're expanding roads, the highway, building new shopping centers, new home communities, whatever the case is, you're going to see construction on a daily basis. So if you're in a hurry in regards to your commute from home to work or to the grocery store or to the gym, prepare yourself to give yourself some patience because you're not going to get anywhere fast in the city of San Antonio. So if you don't like delays and you don't like construction, you might want to reconsider moving to San Antonio. If you plan to live in downtown San Antonio, you'll just have to be aware of the constant loud noise caused by new construction, repairs, and demolition. As mentioned earlier, the city of San Antonio is quickly growing, and construction noise are part of the growing pains. One of the biggest things to know before moving to San Antonio is the city feels like it's always under construction. You'd expect this in the concrete jungle like New York, but who would have thought San Antonio as well? So just something to consider. To me, the construction isn't a big deal. I feel like construction has been going on in San Antonio and other major cities of Texas since I was born. So to me, it's just a regular occurrence. But if you don't like construction, loud noise, banging hammers, you might not want to move to San Antonio. Okay, moving on to the next con, and this is going to be specifically for our New York clients, Chicago clients. Our public transportation has a lot to be desired. It lacks in many, many ways. And one of the things that you'll have to do and have if you live in San Antonio is you're going to need a vehicle. It is almost impossible to live in San Antonio without a car. Everything is very spread out. While there are some very small pockets that are somewhat walkable, the majority of the city, it's just not walkable. It is not a very walkable city. So if you need to take your kids to school, or if you need to go to the grocery store, to the gym, the mall, you're going to need a car, because if you're going to depend on public transportation, it's going to take you forever, number one. And if you're going to be taking Ubers every time you need to leave the house, I am sure it's going to be very expensive, and you'll probably save a lot more money just owning your own vehicle. So San Antonio, you will definitely need a car to live in the city. Guys, so I'm gonna wrap it up with the cons right there. There's definitely other cons. However, there's also a ton of other pros. I just wanted to cover the most impactful and significant pros and cons that our clients discuss when we're assisting them relocate from other parts of the country and around the world. Guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you're thinking about relocating to San Antonio or throughout the state of Texas, my team and I would love to assist you with your next real estate transaction. And if you want us to cover any particular subdivision, city, or topic, please leave a comment below and we would be glad to do so. I hope you have an awesome, blessed week. For now, I got to get back to the office and get back to work, and I'll see you on the next video.